My name is William. I am a writer for NextShark. And you
What's
fill
up?
in.
I'm Curtis Waters. I'm just a guy. Used to make music and shit.
All right, awesome. So, Curtis, when I was reading into your background, I found that you ended up living in multiple countries all before the age of 17. Like, you went from Nepal to India to Canada. Like, you were really like sort of like the
Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide of sorts, you know? What was that like for you, living such a nomadic
Uh,
lifestyle, embracing so many cultures?
I also live in Germany. I think the main thing I learned from it is I had to learn how to be funny because I wasn't like super. I mean, I was a kid, so obviously I wasn't super sexy, but kids aren't sexy. Okay, never mind. But what I'm saying is I wasn't like super attractive when I was a kid. So I had to learn how to be funny because I had to make friends immediately. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just learned how to be funny. That was the main thing, I think. I was pretty sad growing up, you know.
Right. And also, just another question that I have for you, more in terms of your music is, embracing so many different cultures and moving around so much, how has that impacted your musical craft and your musical perspective?
I think for me, because like I was growing up in so many places, I wasn't as much inspired by the shit that was happening around me because I became like kind of like secluded. So I'd be on the internet all the time. So the
Mm,
music I really liked was like shit I found on YouTube or like I'd go on 4chan/MU or Reddit or like just a weird shit that I should not have been on when I was like 10 years old, you
right.
know?
Mm.
But I don't know, like when I was a kid, I got really into like Death Grips because of like
Oh my
Anthony
God,
Fantano reviewing it when I was like 12 or something, you know what I mean?
that's
So I feel like
insane.
none of my music really reflected the shit that I was around at the time. It was just some internet shit, you know?
Right, gotcha. And just hopping off of that sort of unique approach you have, I've been reading a lot of articles on you, and people have described you as having a more of a DIY approach, right? So could
Yeah.
you tell me a little bit more about whether there's a sort of method to your creative madness, or do you just improv anything and everything?
I don't know, man. It depends a lot, but lately I've been really inspired by songs that give me joy. I don't know, like if I listen to a song for like, like when I like a song, I'll get into it like crazy, you know? And
Right.
then a big thing is like, how do I make this energy in what I want, you know? So like when I did Manic Man, I was listening to a lot of post-punk and shit like that, which is
Right.
like this dark and very like, I don't know, some like Soviet shit, you know? And
Right.
very like manic. So I was like, oh, I want to get this emotion out. How do I explain this, how I'm feeling? So it was that, I guess, just trying to channel this energy. But in terms of working, I have my little setup here. I have a piano. I got all this shit here, guitars, bass. So noodle around. I don't know, pretty
Right.
hands on.
And like, just talking about it, like it seems as if your music taste has really been influenced by the kind of artists that you followed. So another thing that I'm really interested in is could you tell me a little bit more about a single artist, album, or even a musical memory that really pushed you into the direction where you are right now? Like what has inspired you in the past and what's inspiring you right now?
Yeah, you want to hear a really weird dream I had when I was a
Oh
kid?
yeah, yeah, of course.
It was it's kind of like almost embarrassing how weird it is. But when I was 14, I was like getting cheated on by my girlfriend. So I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna become a superstar. I'm gonna be Chief Keef. Like, I don't know why I thought I could be Chief Keef. I'm nothing like Chief Keef, but I
Right.
thought,
Mhm.
whatever. So I was in Nepal and I had this dream, and it's so fucking stupid. It's like I had this dream, and Tyler the Creator was on a helicopter, and he was like throwing like golf merch at me, and I was like 14. I was like a huge Tyler fan. He
Mhm.
was like throwing golf merch at me, Earl Sweatshirt, and all those
Yeah.
guys were there. And they put a ladder down, and they were like, "Come join us." And I climbed the ladder, and then when I woke up, I was like, "Yo, this shit is crazy. I'm really him." So I don't know. Like that summer, I started taking music seriously, but I was just kind of like, I really got to figure this out, you know. So
Wow.
for some reason, that dream made me be like, oh, I could be like Tyler the Creator. That's just a guy. Like I'm Curtis Waters. I'm Tyler the Creator. We're just dudes, you know.
That's dope. Yeah. In terms of Odd Future, Tyler the Creator, that whole entire squad, what aspect of their music really appeals to you now? Because especially when they were on the come up, they had a very,
Yeah,
very distinct and unique style that was extremely polarizing. So could you talk a
yeah.
little more about how they influenced your career and your trajectory in terms of, how you make music and stuff?
Yeah, I think growing up, I always felt like an outcast. I always felt like I didn't belong. Maybe it was like a racism thing. I don't know what it was. I just felt really off, you know? So, and all the music that I would listen to would be like radio. So it'd be like Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, which I was like, cool, I like this, whatever, you know. But when I found out about Tyler the Creator and he was like talking about killing himself and shit, I was like, I didn't even know that shit was allowed. Like, I didn't even know you could be like talking about shit like that. And when I was a kid, I was like, what is this? Like, I was like so intrigued, you know. But I didn't know you could be so honest, I guess, and I didn't know you could win being yourself to that degree. Because so far, I thought I had to. I don't know. It felt like, you know, when you're a kid, like rebellion is so enticing, I guess, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So it just kind of spoke to that side of me. And it was the first time I had ever experienced that, like this honesty and DIY energy. And it was just like a lot of kids making shit on their own. And that was inspiring to me growing up because, you know, I didn't have that much money. I didn't have connections. Like I have like brown parents that were never in music industry. So it felt like, oh man, like if like these random ass weird kids can do it, I can do it, you know? So
Yeah.
that made me excited.
And like it's so dope though, right? Because if you think about Odd Future as a collective, they started popping off when they were all teenagers, you know, like Tyler the Creator was around like 19. And I think Earl Sweatshirt was like 16, 17. He was
Yeah.
still a kid, you know, and then they were
Yeah.
creating some of the most raw, like just raw and abrasive music to ever hit, you know, the airwaves, not the airwaves, but you know, just like
Internet.
just
Internet
the
shit.
entire
Yeah.
genre, like on the internet, you know, and they had so much attraction, you know, and I think it's so amazing, like how they evolved over time, you know, and
Yeah.
even just talking about that, like, is change a trend that you see with your career? Because I know,
Oh,
especially Tyler the Creator,
absolutely.
right? Like he literally went from one of the most abrasive rappers of all time to now this really, really lush, you know, neo soul. He's like experimenting with genres a bit with like Igor and stuff like that. Do you almost see your career mirroring that in some respect?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I get bored easily and I'm into characters. I'm not into like being the same person. Like,
Mm,
you know, my first mixtape I did was called Prom Night, which was some like I was trying to be Majid Jordan and failed horribly because I was like a kid who had never sang, but I was like, I want to be like weird, cool disco music. And then the second one was like, I don't even know what Pity Party was like. I don't know, like some like pop, emo rap, DIY bedroom bullshit. Like genres are stupid, but it
yeah.
was more cutesy and loving. I think this time around, it's like this punk, like capitalism character. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
or like American Psycho or some shit. But
Yeah.
it's just character, and you know, you gotta just keep going. It's fun. I don't know. Maybe next album, I want to be like Dijon and be like on some like beautiful shit. You know.
Yeah, yeah, on some
It's
like
just
really
characters.
like
I want to keep
Impala
growing. I want to
psychedelic
keep
kind of vibe.
learning. I
Yeah.
want to keep learning. I want to keep learning. I get bored real easily. Like once I figure out like, oh, okay, I can do this punk stuff. Like I know what I'm doing. I get it. Then I want to be like, okay, I don't know how to sing R&B, and I love R&B. Like I love Party Next Door. Maybe I could be like Party Next Door. Like I don't know. You
Right.
know what I mean? I get
Well,
really
even
inspired.
like alter egos like The Weeknd, are you kidding me? You know, the sort of phase
Yeah.
where he went through, and even with Tyler the Creator, you know, like he went through this entire like, you know, outfit with Igor where he had the bowl cut, and now with his latest album, right? He's the more of like a vacation theme. So he has the
Yeah.
really cool,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Cool.
the Russian wintry hat and then the suitcase and stuff like that
You
too.
know what's sick about Tyler is he's always done that. Like with this for like I remember when I first found out it was like around Goblin era. He had the
Yeah.
green mask and the upside down cross. I was like, holy shit,
Yeah, yeah,
character.
yeah.
And it gives you so much freedom because I could say a lot of dark shit that I'm thinking or shit that me as Ubby, which is my real name, I'm scared to
Right.
say. But
Hmm.
as Curtis Waters or as Starkiller, I can say anything because it's this character and I have this like expression on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about characters for a bit. Like, where do you get inspiration from these alter egos? Like, is it just something that you like pull out of nowhere, or are there certain points in your life where like
It's,
memory
it's a
experience?
lot of it's a lot of like taking old ideas and coming up together. But you know, for me, thrifting is the main thing. When I first started this album, I thought it was gonna be like this leather jacket, like you know, I thought I worked at a garbage company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now the character that I have now is like this like fed up like capitalist worker that works at a nuclear plant. And
Right.
have you seen the music video?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have seen it. Yeah.
Okay, okay, you saw the music video. So it's like a nuclear power plant worker fed up with like capitalism and shit like that.
Hey.
But what happened was like I went thrifting with my buddy and I saw a suit and I was like, yo, wouldn't it be funny if I wore a suit all the time? Like
Yeah.
on some like
Yeah.
bro shit, but ironically. So I
Right.
was like, I really love this character. I had this idea of being like a bro, like a fucking dickhead. You know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
anti shit,
Right.
but satire. And this, I was doing it for a show because I wanted to stand out. And I was like, oh, I really love this. I saw Kiss do it. People keep saying David Bowie, but it's a star. And I saw this dude from Kiss do it, and I was like,
Right.
oh,
I think
that's
it was
pretty
like,
fire.
wasn't it Gene Simmons or someone? Like I remember
Yeah,
what you're talking about too. Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
Gene Simmons. I never listened to their music to be honest, but I'm I love makeup and shit. I've been trying to get into it. I just bought like $100 worth of makeup yesterday. I'm trying to learn. I did this shit this morning. It's not amazing, but
Right.
hopefully I'm really good at it.
Yeah, so I feel like it's almost as if there's like a sort of a relationship between your music and your fashion and the way you express yourself, you know? It's like you have all these outlets, you
Absolutely.
know?
I mean, I've been working on this album for a while, and the biggest difficulty for me was like, what is this character? Because I was still stuck on the last album's character, and I was like, wait, I'm changing and transitioning, and like the character doesn't make sense. The visuals don't make sense. The music's there and the music's
Yeah.
great, but the whole world isn't built yet. So I've spent so much time just building the world. If you see the video, it's not a crazy video necessarily, but you see the world that it's set in, you know what I mean? And then the
Right.
next few videos, I'm planning it out so that it's this character and it follows through their journey of, pursuit of success and this and that.
Right. And sort of like you said, it was satire too. So there's sort of this
Yeah.
edge to it where it's like you're poking fun at the character, you know? And
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. I mean, yeah, everything is like satire, but it's also true to myself to a degree. Like we're all kind of, you know, fucked. So
I
it's
mean,
funny.
if you're a guy who listens to freaking Death Grips, like you can't be taking everything too seriously, you know?
No, no, not at all. I think most of the shit is funny. Like, bro, like when I go do like shows and shit, it's like I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm jumping around, but I'm
Mhm.
doing a whole suit and I want to look like I work for like a company, like a corporate job. Like I
There's
think,
like this dissonance, you know?
yeah, like I think that's more funny. It is really hard though, because I'm fucking sweating the whole time in a whole
Yeah,
suit.
yeah, yeah. Like I
But
remember
yeah,
I was watching Kendrick perform the other day. Not the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, and he was also up with the suit too. And like if you see him on the big screen, like he's like profusely sweating, you
yeah,
know? And it's like, how did these artists even do that? That's crazy, you know?
yeah.
You
I've
really
been working out every day to do this shit, man. I've
yeah.
been like going I've been trying to get my shit in order. Like I never cared about health. I never cared about none of that. But now that I'm performing and being this character, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to be like the greatest performer.
Right, yeah. I feel like it's almost like a physical thing too. Like also like I'd love for you to even expand upon like, you know, the ways in which like not even talking about your music for a sec, but talking about your performance art, you know, like how do you prepare for these things? How do you come up with outfits? How do you, you know, coordinate all that kind of stuff?
It just depends on the person you're becoming. Like right now, it's some aggressive music, right? So, you put on the glasses. I'm just on some capitalism shit. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like trying to be like corporate leader, like shit like that. Like that's the character,
Yeah.
like a
Mhm.
pent up capitalist. That's the shit right now. It
Yeah.
really depends, but we all have it in us. It's a lot like acting. Like
Yeah.
there's this like aggressive side to me that I don't let on. Like normally I'm a very passive, almost like self-deprecating person.
Right.
So for me, it's just like channeling this one. Maybe there's like a slither of me that's very like power hungry and fucking like angry and whatever. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
like, okay, here's a bunch of music off of this part of my personality, and here's this world, and here's this outfit, and here's the pants and the shoes and everything. So
Mhm.
I'm my favorite thing about music is definitely like this whole world I build around it. And one day I'd love to make video games and simulations and stuff that it's just world building. It's like emotions. Like
Yeah.
I could tell you, hey, I'm really angry because I'm upset at the music industry, or I could show you like this crazy world metaphor, fucking whatever bullshit. And
Yeah.
that's what
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. Also another thing that I'm really, really curious about is, I mean, clearly, like, you know, you had that one song Stun, you know, that really, really blew up in recent years, right? I'm kind of curious to see, like, what's your relationship with that track? Like, is it something that, like, you really enjoy, like, you know, having that sort of theme? Or is it kind of annoying for you to be constantly associated with this one song, even though you have so many other interests and so many other alter egos that, you know, you sort of put on?
Yeah. It's so weird because that's probably the song in my catalog that I have like it's the least effort song. It's just like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
random
yeah.
song. I hated it for a while. I do love it because I'm gonna be honest, like have the money to do this now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
exactly.
it's
Right.
giving me the opportunity to be in this interview, all this stuff. So
Right.
I can't ever be mad at it. And it's made the world a better place because people enjoy it. So for a long time, I felt really like embarrassed of it, I think. And I
Hmm.
felt like, man, people don't see me as the artist. I see myself. People see me as a gimmick, or I had all these insecurities. But right
Yeah.
now, fuck it, man. Like I'm doing my best. I'm able to do music. Like I should be working like an IT job right now or something.
Yeah.
This is like a great privilege. So
Exactly.
I'm not too mad at it. I think artists, we go through a lot, but we also complain a lot. It's like real life is very hard, like
Right.
just surviving is really difficult. So for any of us to be able to, like, if your job is making music and you have people listening to music and you make money from what you do and you love, like you are like the luckiest person in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So success, that sort of, materialistic stuff, it's not really what you rock with, right?
I mean, what I love is being able to be characters, man.
Yeah.
I want to build worlds. I want to make people feel emotions. I want to do shows. I want people to be like, whoa. But
Yeah.
yeah, I bought like these Versace glasses, but you know why? Because it's this character that would wear it.
Mhm.
It's like
Right.
this, it's like a costume, but I don't know. Money's good. I want to keep surviving. I want to support my family, but nothing gets me more excited than making albums and just having the opportunity to keep pursuing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Just being like an innovator,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
cool.
And I'm so in the beginning. Like I'm 22. Like I'm excited. Like, what am I gonna do when I'm 30? Like Childish Gambino released because the internet when he was 30. That's
Right.
great. Like Yeezus came out so late in Kanye's career. Like there's so
Exactly.
much
Yeah.
like amazing shit that I have yet to do. And
Right. It's like this raw, untapped potential, like
yeah,
you're doing,
and I just want to keep going, man. I don't want to get caught up in all the bullshit and the
Yeah.
virality and all that shit. You just got to keep going.
And make a mental bookmark of because the internet, because we're gonna loop back to that towards the end of
Okay.
the interview. I've got
Perfect.
a bomb question for you. Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, anyways, like how does it also like in terms of your really unique background too, like how does it feel being one of the most successful artists who are coming out of Nepal? Like it's sort of a very like underrepresented,
Yeah.
country and ethnic group within the broader society, so could you sort of talk about your relationship with your birthplace and what it's like sort of being a beacon of artistic innovation for them.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't expect. Well, growing up, I felt like the shame. Like I felt like, oh my God, like when I was in Nepali communities growing up, I had piercings and I would dye my hair and this and that. And I always felt kind of ostracized from the community, I guess, with my friends and parents, families and shit. So I remember growing up, I was trying to like kind of distance myself from my culture, I think, because
Mm.
I didn't feel welcome. But after stunning, everybody welcomed me. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, blah, blah, blah," it's cool. I feel very flattered that people idolize me, I guess. But I also feel this like great sense of responsibility to be like a moral figure. And I'm, yeah, I'm like a good person for sure, but I'm like an entertainer. Like,
Yeah.
I want to do things that might not possibly always reflect what Nepali culture deems appropriate or respectable,
Right.
you know.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I love Nepal. I'm excited. I grew up there until I was 10 years old. Started making music in Nepal in 2014. I'm
Hmm.
going back next month to perform and
Awesome.
stuff. I haven't been back since I was 14, so I'm super excited.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, that's hype.
Yeah, it just hasn't felt real yet. Maybe when I go back to Nepal, I'll understand the scope of it. But I feel proud, because I didn't have that shit growing up. I didn't know any Nepali people that were like doing what I wanted to do and
Right.
like some sort of the path was very hidden.
Hmm.
And I hope I've kind of opened up the puzzle piece in some way for some kids to be like, okay, Curtis Waters did it, like Abhi did it, so I know I can do it. Like maybe they'll tell their parents, like, no, Nepali people can do this because there's this weird
Yeah.
motherfucker somewhere out there who's wearing a fucking stupid suit and he's doing the shit and I can do it too. So that's like the main
Yeah.
thing.
Awesome. And I also am curious to see, like, because you're sort of a beacon for Nepal, there's sort of this other angle too, where it's like, you are also what most people sort of see from Nepal, you know, because you're the one of the first major artists to sort of have that international range, you know. So
Yeah.
have you ever thought about like, you know, possibly interweaving like, you know, like Nepalese culture within the way in which you create music and sort of, you know, exposing people to that sort of side of you?
I would love to. I would have to do it in a way that's not forced though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Because it
it
could be
takes
really
a
corny.
long time to figure out what, like, I don't want to pander. Like I'm not like I don't want to be like a politician about it and be like, yo, the Nepali demographic, blah blah blah, the percentage, and this is gonna get that. Like that's not what it's
Yeah.
about. And I speak Nepali to my parents. I'm very Nepali, but I guess musically, I'll be honest, like I don't listen to much Nepali music, and
Mm,
I listen to so much random. Like I told you, like I'm very internet
right.
focused. But lately I've been meeting with a lot of like brown artists, like South Asian artists, and I've been pretty inspired by that. I'll see. Maybe I go to Nepal, I'll get inspired.
Yeah.
I'd love that though. I'd love to one day go by my government name, Abhi.
Mm,
I think that'd be really
yeah.
cool.
That
Um,
yeah, cool. Like a mononym, you know. I think that would be pretty.
Yeah, but the timing's got to be right, the intention's got to be right, like I remember when I was younger, I wanted to make music about like being poor and capitalism and trying to make
Right.
it out and
Hmm.
the struggles of all this stuff, but I felt like I wasn't ready to take on that challenge in an appropriate and cool way. And I feel ready to make music about serious shit like me growing up and being traumatized and stuff. Like I'm ready for that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ready to like I don't feel prepared enough to tastefully deliver on like a good Nepali song yet. But
Right.
I
So you're like a reverse Kanye, bro, because you're experimenting with all these funky sounds, you know, and then as you go later into your career, then you're gonna start talking about the real stuff, like the come up, you know, instead of
well
college dropout to Yeezus, you're going from Yeezus to college dropout, you know.
I don't know. Well, this album you haven't heard it yet. It's
Yeah.
like the album's called Bad Son. It's about me growing up. It's about the immigrant struggle. So
Mhm.
this is my second album. I tried to do it on my first album, but I feel like in this album I really figured it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not the reverse necessarily. It's just that I'm getting better at it. Like
Right.
Kanye also he didn't go off the rails. Like he's also getting better at honing in. Like maybe he's talked about Donda for years, and
Hmm.
only now he made this album, right? Like
Yeah.
Tyler's been talking about, making neo soul music since like Bastard days, I think almost, but
Yeah.
only in Flower Boy he was able to hone in. So I think for me, it's always about getting closest to the root and the heart. But it takes time, and you gotta, master your skills before you're able
Yeah.
to handle certain things.
Could you talk about that journey too? About how you sort of, you know, acquired the abilities and the tools to really, you know, enter really deep in your soul and talk about these struggles. Like, what was it like? Like, were there any moments that really inspired you? And like, you know, just things like that. I'd love for you to sort of speak on it.
I've always been extremely honest. I don't really feel like ashamed about anything really. I feel like we all go through the same shit and people don't speak on it as much. And I kind of see it as like performance art. So like, I could tell you like, oh my God, I've been traumatized and I
Mhm.
was poor and I was living with cockroaches. And I never feel like embarrassed, I guess, because I feel like it's all like art. So I have this excuse.
Mhm.
Like I think if I was like a normal person, I might have some reservations about being as honest and vulnerable. But
Yeah.
I feel like because it's Curtis Waters, I can say anything. So it's a
Right.
lot easier.
So it's almost as if like this alter ego is freeing you and it's giving you that freedom to sort of, you know, access these
Like
sides of your
I
personality.
am, the thing is like when you're around your friends, like you're like who I'm really honest with? When I go to a party and I meet a random stranger, I'm
Mhm.
gonna spill my whole life to them because they
Yeah.
don't know me, I don't know them, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm not as honest to my parents or my girlfriend or my close friends about how I really feel sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's easier when it's like there's no judgment. So in a way, like Curtis Waters is the stranger, it's a character, it's not me.
Mhm.
But in a fucked up way, when I'm Curtis Waters, I can be the most honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's hard, man. It's
Yeah.
like because when people already know you, they have this preconceived notion of you, right? But
Yeah.
when you're a different character, when you're a stranger, you're a blank slate. You could be whatever, whoever you want, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the most authentic you know?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. That's some mind-blowing stuff, man. That's probably why you love alter ego so much, you know? It's because of that authenticity, you know? That's sort of your gig.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool.
Mhm. And now, going back to the question, right? I sort of alluded to it when you mentioned because the internet, right? But I mean, you're a child of the digital age. That was what raised you. That was what made you so big in the first place, you know? And I
Yeah,
sort of just want to have a discussion on, what are some things that you love and hate about the internet's influence on the musical landscape? And, we'll start with the musical landscape, but I also want to expand this to just the cultural landscape as a whole, because, because the internet is basically this massive cautionary tale. This dude is literally, poking holes through like internet culture, like with World Star, he talks about fights and everything and how it democratizes violence. And I
yeah.
sort of just want you to talk about, the pros and cons of, and more specifically the cons even of like, having
I
information age.
As I've grown up, I've become more and more anti-internet. Like growing up, I was always on the internet, blah blah blah. But now, like my goal in life is to make enough money and have enough cultural importance where I feel proud and just live in a cabin with my wife and dog and play acoustic guitar and be on some weirdo shit, you know? I
Yeah.
don't want no purpose. Like I don't, this shit is evil. This shit is fucked up. Like I'm gonna sound like I'm preaching and shit, but like tech, like people that work in tech companies don't even let their kids on the internet type shit. Like this shit is
Yeah.
bad
No,
for us.
really. Yeah.
Like even artists, we're like, we bend down to the algorithm. It's not the worst thing. Like life is harder than this, but like where people are compromising their art for the algorithm, people are, it's like a whole job. It's weird, I don't think it's good for your health. I think the internet is really, really bad for your health. Like I
Mm.
think I'm very inspired. Like what I love about the internet is like knowledge and shit and like finding old music or finding facts or like how do I work out? Like what are some tips? Like I like shit
Right.
like that, right? But just this like comparison and this and that and this competition, like we're always in competition on the internet. Like everything is quantified. Every action you do, there's a data to tell you whether you did it good or bad or whether you're
Mhm.
popping or not. Like that shit is not good for your health, man. That's not how real life works.
Yeah. You're on some you've seen the social dilemma, right? On Netflix.
I don't know if I did. Is it the one about that lady that works at that company?
No, it's a documentary actually. It's
Oh,
about
I think I did watch it. I did watch
yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's like there's like it's like they use animations too, and it's like basically how like companies store all of your data from the internet and stuff like that, and on social media
Yeah,
stuff
yeah, yeah.
And so
We're
all of
hooked
that,
to this shit, man. We're so addicted, bro. It's horrible. It's very depressing, man. I sound like a boomer. Like I know it's like a boomer ass thing to say because
yeah,
you know, but I grew up in Nepal when internet hadn't like fully taken over yet, and I was one of the first houses to have internet. But like I was always outside. I was always happy. I was always doing some shit, and maybe it's because I was a kid too. But when I go back in Nepal, it's not the same because everybody's like so in their own internet and in their
right,
own world. Same as me, but I've been trying to be on it less. I have to be on it because it's my
yeah,
fucking job.
yeah.
But I'd love to be successful enough where I don't have to constantly participate in it or be a consumer to it. Like I'd love to just like be in real life, man. Be with your
Yeah.
family, cook food, like hang out with your people, bro. Don't be on this shit comparing yourself to
And like
people.
it's corny too, but it's like actually something that
It's
happens. Like
so
I've literally
real.
gone to
It's
like
super real.
yeah, like I've gone to parties and I've gone to hangouts and stuff, and it's literally just a bunch of people sitting on their phones and they're not even like talking to each other, and it's so lame. Yeah, that's right. Like it's
Crazy,
as if
man.
people just escape.
Yo, the boomers might have fucked up many things, but they're right about the internet. I'm pro boomer in this conversation, man.
Right.
This
Yeah.
shit is damaging us. Like, even the endless scroll, that's a horrible thing. Humans are never supposed to be able to fathom this shit. Like, imagine giving like a fucking prehistoric caveman what we know. Like, I don't know. Like, this shit cannot be good for you, bro. This shit is
Yeah. Yeah. It's just unnatural. It's instant gratification. That's what it is.
horrible. You can't, you shouldn't be able to just like hit a button and get dopamine. But like lately, I've been trying to work out, I've been trying to be healthy, and like you need to earn the dopamine. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You gotta be creative, you gotta work out, you gotta exert energy, you gotta do all this shit that humans are built for. Like we were never made to just be on bed on TikTok for like 12 hours a day, bro. That shit is gonna kill you.
Yeah, for real. And also, like, we've talked about it from a broader societal standpoint, but what have you been seeing in terms of the influence of the internet on the music industry? I mean, you said it yourself, like your least effort song, right? Stuntin'. That's also
Yeah.
your most successful song, like what does that have to
Yeah.
say about like, the state of the music industry and the influence of the internet on that?
Well, here's the thing with Stunning. That was my least effort song I made, but that was the most effort I've ever put into marketing. I
Ooh,
was marketing that song for like 3 months. I was like being obnoxious. Like I remember I was on TikTok way before it was normal to do this, posting it multiple times a day, every day for like 3 months. This was 2020 before people were really doing that. I was getting death threats. Like people were annoyed by me, but I had to do what I had to do. But that's the world now. Like you have to be a marketer. You have to do all this bullshit. I don't know. There's so much like shit music now, and you got to kind of like compromise a little bit to hit the algorithms and shit. But it's also like, bro, like not to like, I don't know, like the whole like alphabet, all the
yeah.
like alphabet TikTok songs, like everybody does that shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm a boomer though. Maybe I'm getting old, bro. Because back
No,
then people were, but people were complaining about mumble rap, and I was like, I love Lil Pump, I love Lil Gotti,
yeah.
whatever.
The party was
But
free.
no, I love that shit. So maybe we always complain about music, but some is just like, I don't know, man. I go on TikTok and I hear some corny ass music and it's just so inoffensive. I just get pissed off. But maybe someone's feeling that way about me. Maybe they'll see my music on TikTok and be like, bro, this shit is fucking stupid. Totally
Yeah.
fair. Totally
Yeah,
fair.
no, if I'm gonna be real with you, right? Like when I was like, I mean, as everyone was, right? When I first listened to your music too, I also thought you were, sort of. I mean, it's a good ass song. It's like catchy and stuff. It has a nice melody,
Yeah,
right? But I didn't really think there was much substance to your music until I explored your other stuff.
exactly, man. And that's the shit that does good. So it's hard for us as artists to be like, oh, okay, do I want to pay my rent or do I want to be a cool substance artist? And I've released music and two of my most popular songs are two songs I made as jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that's what it is. And I have this like internal dilemma all the time. I'm like, oh, okay, I could totally make a really catchy, easy, stupid, fun pop song and probably do pretty good. Or I could do the shit I love to do and make shit that I feel deeply about and hopefully that does good. But it's amazing when it's a balance, like Star Killer to me is like that's a pop song, dude. Like I'm talking about shit that I feel and whatever, and it's cool and it's punk or whatever, but it's a pop song. It's super catchy, it's super simple, it's super dumb, and it's great.
it's so funny though. Like because you said that you made a couple of these songs as a joke, and that literally reminded me of I think it was MGMT, with Electric
Yeah,
Feel and stuff like that. These were
yeah,
literally two like hardcore EDM producers who sat together in a room and they were like, how do we make the corniest shit ever? And then just send it out there and see what happens. And it ends up
yeah.
blowing up. It's like a phenomenon?
But you know what's crazy? Oh, voice corrector.
Yeah.
MGMT is actually like super cool though. Like I listen to the album all the time. I know they made it as a joke and I heard the whole thing, but like it's crazy. Like Time to Pretend is an insane song. The production is so
Yeah.
lush and beautiful. Like the lyrics are very like poignant too. Like I don't know. That's a good balance to me. Like that's a pop song, that's a big hit, but it's also like some real shit. Like another like great one hit wonder is like but you didn't have to cut me off. Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
a
Got you,
weird
got you,
song to
yeah.
be a number one hit, but that's a great fucking song, bro. Like
Yeah.
some real shit. I love it.
Or even like someone like Billie Eilish. Like the sort of music that she makes is also really, really, like you could like I don't want to sound like some kind of casual, right? But relative to most of the pop songs that are out,
I
it's
agree.
pretty damn experimental.
No, honestly, people shit on Billie Eilish. I think she's amazing. Like, I
Yeah.
think for what she's doing and the numbers she does, she's like super experimental.
Yeah.
Or like, well, I didn't like her new album as much as the When We Fall Asleep, where that
Yeah,
one
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah, yeah. The one
I
where
listened to
like
it and I thought it was like so cool because that's not what it's pop, but it's still like it's exciting at least, or it was at the time.
so like how do you think you're gonna be able to crack that code, to be this really cool, theatrical, authentic self, make some really crazy stuff, right? But at the same time, sort of getting those numbers that a lot of these other artists are.
I
Like,
don't know, man. I'm trying. I'm
yeah.
trying. Let's see. Let's see. I think my thing right now is I feel so much guilt and shame for trying to make music that's gonna be popular. Like I try not to think about it, because when I've done that, I've made my corniest music. It's done really well, but I've made some music that I'm really ashamed of to have in my catalog.
Yeah.
My main thing is like I want to make music that I love and I want to listen to and I want to tour and I feel like that person. And hopefully the world resonates. And if they don't, I might have to go work at IT or some shit.
Yeah.
But I got some time. Let's keep trying.
Yeah.
But it's also here's the thing. Like I'm not a fucking pretentious asshole either. Like one of my favorite songs is like I Got a Feeling by Black Eyed Peas. Like
Yeah.
what's the substance in that? Whatever. It makes people have fun. People enjoy it.
Right.
I love like Kesha. Like I love the album with the glitter and shit. I think it's called Animals or something. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
there's
yeah.
Cannibal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit is amazing. Like I love 2010s pop music. Like I'm a huge fan. So I'm kind of a hypocrite, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Like I
almost
love dumb
like,
shit. Like you know what my favorite song is? Like Sexy Back. Like that's
oh
some
yeah,
sexy.
Justin
You
Timberlake
you
back
go
in
to a
the 2000s.
party, they play, sorry for interrupting you, but you go to a
Yeah,
party, they play Sexy Back. I'm bringing sexy back. Hey, everybody's like, yeah, everybody screams. That's a
yeah,
great feeling. That's good for the world. So I'm not saying we gotta just make like some political ass music.
right.
I'm saying like, come on, if you're gonna make some fun music, like make it fun, make it cool.
Make it creative.
Yeah, make it
And
creative. Like I think Sexy Back is creative. Like I think it's a
yeah.
great song.
But like I feel like those kinds of songs, they were sort of that was sort of the pre-internet era. Like it's not like they have TikTok where it's like there's a specific algorithm to a song. So
Yeah.
you can say that like even the impact of the internet is on the way in which we make music, because
Yeah.
it's as
Well,
like maybe like that's sort of the reason why music.
songs are shorter now, like Star Killer is 2 minutes long. I'm sure if it was back in the day, it'd be like 3, 4, whatever. You know what I mean? People don't have attention span, but you know what? Neither do I.
Yeah,
Like I could complain about all this shit as much as I want, but I'm also part of the problem, because
yeah.
if shit's not catchy in the first 2 seconds, I'm gonna skip it. There's
No,
just so
yeah,
much.
yeah. The intro is so
So.
important. And like, yeah, I feel like I've even heard where like song structures are like shifted and stuff, and like they completely got rid of the bridge now, or something like that with like
Yeah, there's no bridge. I don't think I've ever done a bridge in my life. I don't
really,
think
damn. And
I'm
this is
trying
coming
to
from a
think.
Tyler
I
the
don't think I've
Creator.
ever made a bridge.
This is coming from a Tyler the Creator fan too. Like,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. Well, here's the thing though, because Tyler kind of blew up before the algorithm pleasing era, I think.
yeah,
I don't know. Like the whole time I've been making music, it's been like, how do I game the algorithm? You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's sort of this like, I don't know. I'd love to explore it more. Like in this Bad Son album, I've like taken much more bigger risks. Like I have a 10-minute ambient song, like I have
oh,
all these weird like cool shit that I also really enjoy. But I don't know, man. It's the game. We gotta play the game to win sometimes.
yeah,
It's
right,
tough.
yeah. You got to play the game. I think that's so funny though, because like, yeah, I think that bridge is absolutely amazing. What he does with like the synths and stuff, it's all like fuzzy.
Yeah,
It moves around, and then it builds up to this final chorus, and then it just explodes.
it's amazing. I
Yeah,
wanna. I also want to get better at production so I can do cool shit like that.
right. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. And like it's strange. Like, how do you think like an artist like Tyler the Creator would fare if how do you think a collective like Odd Future would fare in like the 2020s?
I have no idea. I don't think TikTok would let them post that shit. I
Yeah.
think they would get like banned. No, they get canceled immediately. Like that would
I
not work.
yeah,
I think that only worked because of the era we were in. That shit would not work now.
right. And like, do you think that's sort of bad for the music industry as a whole? Like, do you almost feel as if the internet's curbing creativity?
Yeah, but it's also something to be said about responsibility, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I loved Odd Future growing up, but it was very misogynistic and
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
like a lot of like rape stuff and all this like crazy shit. And
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like 11, I was like, whoa, punk, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
kids really get impacted by that shit. Like, this whole Andrew Tate shit, like it's in, about Andrew
Oh
Tate.
yeah. Oh, of course,
Yeah,
man.
it's like, yeah, whatever. It's entertainment or whatever. But little kids are fucking stupid and they will believe it and they
Yeah.
will become that person.
Right.
So I'm on the side of, let's keep people safe. Let's respect women. Let's make sure,
Yeah,
like shit is good,
right.
I don't know. I don't know. I think there's a way to make creative and rebellious art without, you know,
Without putting
hurt.
people down, you know.
Yeah, like without hurting minorities, That's like,
Right. Yeah.
we don't, yeah, like, yeah.
Oh, because there's a line between like authenticity and then just being a dick, you know?
Yeah, and I think like Odd Future was like so much shock factor, and as a kid, I was so drawn to it. But hey, if I was 22 years old and Odd Future was coming out now, I probably would be like, oh, I don't think you should make music about raping pregnant people. I don't know. Actually, I don't know how I would feel. I don't know how I'd feel necessarily, but I don't know. You know,
It is what it is. Yeah. I mean, that sort of
I
wraps
think that was a very like culturally important movement for the time it was in. It
right.
made perfect sense.
Yeah. And like, yeah, what we're just like broader in general. Like what do you think this sort of broader cultural movement of like TikTok and shorter songs, what do you think would come out of this, you know?
I have no idea. But you know what's also interesting? I don't know if we have like a mainstream culture anymore. Like I think we kind of have, everybody is like the main character now. So drill is going crazy. Hyperpop is this, blah blah blah.
Right.
Like fucking boom, 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 boom. That shit might be going crazy where you are, Like
Yeah.
maybe Bali Funk is going crazy where you are. I don't even know what people are listening to because everybody's on their own shit.
Yeah.
Nobody really listens to the radio anymore. So I don't really know what culture is anymore, you know?
Yeah. I guess culture's so fragmented, it's so like diverse now, you know, and
Yeah.
that's sort of cool in and of itself, you know, because I feel like I've been doing a lot of I'm actually a music writer. I write for the Vanderbilt Hustler music section, so I do a lot of like album reviews and stuff. And I feel like recent
Yeah.
trends within the main like pop circles, right, is sort of embracing like throwback 80s sounds, like synth
Yeah.
pop kind of stuff, and bringing that to today. If you think about artists like Beyonce and even Drake, but like even then, like I feel like those artists only like those kinds of songs only get like 50% of the playtime, and the other 50% is just like a mosaic or like a collage of these different TikTok songs, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I go to the restaurant and I can't complain because I have a TikTok song. So I hope they keep playing that
Yeah,
shit so I make money. But it's pretty funny. Like when you go to like a restaurant or something, it's like all TikTok songs. Like every
yeah,
song is like a TikTok trend. It's pretty
yeah,
funny. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of depressing that like, you don't get validation or like the only way you really get support now is if you have like a TikTok trend happening to your
mhm,
music, you
right.
know. Um, but it's also I'm kind of tired of complaining about it. It's like fuck it, dude. Like let's just make
Yeah,
music. Let's just do it.
yeah. I mean, if they
Um,
like it, they like it. If they don't, whatever.
keep going. And you know what? Maybe shit will blow up in 20 years. Maybe some other fucking app will happen and some shit will blow up. Like people are so scared to drop their music if it doesn't blow up. But like if
Right.
you like it, drop that shit. Like
Yeah,
fuck it, man. And like this whole, what I hate about TikTok mostly is this like search for external validation that artists have been put into now.
hmm,
Is that like every time an artist has a song, you got to go on TikTok, you got to do your little fucking dance, you got to see if it goes viral, you got to see if everybody loves it immediately for that snippet. And if it doesn't, fuck that song. That wasn't it. But you don't know. Drop that shit. Like maybe somebody's like life will change because of it. Like you don't fucking know. Like I don't like how calculated shit's gotten.
yeah. And it's funny, right? You talk about like because that person used to be you, like when you talk
Yeah,
about marketing,
100%.
right? Yeah,
I'm complaining about it because I am a victim to that. Like I do that. Like I tease songs and they don't do well and I shelf them when I know I love this song and it means a lot to me.
yeah,
So I'm not even preaching to other people. I'm telling myself like stop being a fucking coward, bro. Like
yeah.
drop music. Like people
Right.
love it.
Mhm.
Like whatever. Fuck external validation.
Yeah. And like I feel like it's also really cool too, right? Because I feel like there's a buffer for certain albums too, where it's like they don't become popular until like years afterwards, Like you think about like an artist like, the like Neutral Milk Hotel, like in the airplane over the sea, right? Like it was
Mhm.
literally made by like this like completely low key, like no one's ever heard of these artists before, right? But then like a couple of years after they release, it just completely blows up. And now it's like an classic.
Yeah, it's super weird, man. So I'm
Or
trying to get
even
out
like
of my head about that
yeah.
shit.
Or even like Lizzo, Like I think
Yeah.
like her original like a lot of her songs that blew up were released like a year ago after were released a year before they blew up.
So you just don't know, man. If you love this shit and it means something to you, share it with the world, man. Like it's only good. Like nothing bad can happen from that, you know?
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really amazing way to sort of end this formal portion of the interview on.
Yeah.